Bearcat Radio will be on the air in 5 minutes. Till today's broadcast of Bearcat Athletics. Minutes till airtime. One minute till Bearcat Radio is live.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
time for Bearcat softball on the flagship station of Virginia High Athletics. Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's exclusive coverage of Virginia High softball on Bearcat Radio. Today in Bristol, the Lady Cats open their 2018 campaign on the diamond against the Twin Springs Titans from Nicholsville. This is Dylan Hutton, joined by Mark Harr as we welcome you to the Virginia High Bullpen Show. And Mark, tonight the Bearcats look to get 2018 going with an opening day win if everything goes out right. You've been in this spot as a baseball player. I have too. But what does this specifically mean today, opening day, mean to the players?
It's just something to give you excitement about. I mean, you work hard all year for this event. I mean, a lot of these girls do play other sports, but I was just a straight baseball kid, and this is something I look forward to every year because, I mean, I busted my tail all year long to get to this spot. I mean, you have one senior on the team, and she's done well at it, and she just looks amped and ready to go, and that's what you're looking for, is to have the focus and excitement about coming out to opening day. I mean, it's the same thing for a fan, too. I mean, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, we're Bearcat fans, too. We're not afraid to admit it. It was a great year for basketball. Of course, now transitioning over to warmer weather, hopefully, here in a few days. Supposed to have snow, actually, tomorrow. We won't talk about that too much. So, opening night here at the ballpark, rain in the forecast. We'll get to that here later, but we welcome you to the Virginia High Bullpen Show. Again, the pregame show we'll have before every baseball and softball game this season. Virginia High, Mark, much like girls basketball, is powered by a core group of young playmakers, mostly juniors and sophomores. Catcher Samantha Venable hit .377 last year. Kylie James, a sophomore, hit .356 and led the team in hits with 32, RBIs with 28, and doubles with 7. Sophomore Bailey Lamb also had 26 RBIs, and Jada Campbell, a junior, who hit .329 and led the team in triples. How important is it to get at or near that production that the girls had last year?
You know, they always say that 300 is a magic number here in baseball or softball. And, I mean, you have 5 players who do that this year. I think you have to stay at that point or even a little better. You want at least one of those core players to really pick up and try to get about that 4 number, which is really prime position for you.
How do you continue to progress as the season goes? I
mean, you just got to keep your hours in the cage up. You got to stay in the gym. You have to keep working year-round. I mean, even when you're in season, there's practice times, there's extra hours you have to put in. It's all about the work you put in on how much you progress, and the more hours you put in, the better you get.
And I know we mentioned the lone senior. We'll mention her again. I don't think we could talk about Virginia High without talking about Lindsay Slagle, a middle infielder who recently signed to continue her career at Milligan College. What does she really bring to the table for the Bearcats?
You know, she brings a little bit of everything, Dylan. I mean, as a senior, you're always looking to have that leadership role, and she definitely does that for them. Second most hits, 9, and she had 30 of those, 9 extra base hits, scored 27 runs, and had the highest OBP for returning last year's team. I mean, 45.8% there, and I mean, when you're getting on base 45% of the time, you're doing a pretty good job at anything you do.
Yeah, definitely really the leader of this team, and like I said, much like basketball. Basketball had Kerrigan Bailey. Now we're, of course, have another lone senior for this softball team in Lindsay Slagle, who anchors down the middle infield there at shortstop. Let's review last season real quick for the Cats. They finished 12-12, but really finished on a high note. They made a run in the Southern Empire Conference. Of course, last year was a conference year. This year we're in the Southwest District. They were the runner-up in that conference tournament, and Richlands ended up beating them in the conference championship. But with that championship appearance, they made it into region, and they appeared in that tournament, played a really tough Lebanon team, was shut out 5-0 there at Lebanon to end the year. But, Mark, softball is kind of that weird sport where a girl can pitch night in and night out. You run into a tough pitcher, and sometimes you
get stuck. I mean, that's just how it is. And I remember my senior year, we had a really good pitcher who wound up playing at Maryville, and now I believe she's at Milligan as well. But, I mean, it was tough for other teams. And we went from 2 wins to I think 17 to 19 wins in 1 year, just because we had a good pitcher come in and threw the ball consistently for us.
And another thing about that Bearcat team, last year's team, one of the best defensive teams that Coach Myers has had here at Virginia High. So it's definitely a boost. Didn't lose a whole lot from that team as far as returning players that have played a lot of time. I mean, Jada Campbell, of course, a junior, can play infield and also is mainly in center field. That's where she'll be tonight. But defense really can win you a lot of games. You get in these 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 kind of games, Mark, and you've been there. It's the same way in baseball.
Your lineups in the press box.
They're getting the lineups in here real quick, but hopefully that didn't blare anybody's ears off. But.
You talked about defense. I mean, but even when your defense is producing, you have to have some offense to go with that. I mean, if your pitcher's doing well enough to keep it a 3-2, 2-1 game, I mean, somebody's going to come up to the plate and get some big hits. I mean, get them on, get them over, and get them in. It was always the mantra that you have, and that's what you have to have even in situations like today and throughout the course of a baseball and softball season.
Bearcats out on the field taking in and out here as we get set here about 4 minutes before we have our slotted game time. Again, this roster for the Cats very young, seniors and sophomores that have playoff experience, also some juniors who have that playoff experience as well. Unfortunately, didn't have enough time to talk to Coach Myers before the game. Just kind of a hectic getting over here, getting set up. But, hey, we got a pretty good little perch up here.
Yeah, we pitched up a little tent for us, a little tarp, and I guess we're going to be ready to go.
So just a little warning here. If it does rain or like the wind blows hard enough to blow our makeshift tarpaulin up out onto the field or otherwise away from where we're sitting, we'll probably have to run under the rain and try to save our equipment because that matters pretty much. But we'll have to see. To be determined. Right now we've not had any rain, so far
you
so
better
good.
knock on wood because you just jinxed it all.
Yeah, I probably did.
It's Dylan, folks. It's Dylan.
I knocked on wood, so maybe that won't hurt anything. Let's go real quick here as we get set for everything here, getting ready to get underway. Let's look at the weather for tonight as both teams are done with in and out. And it's about 60 degrees. It's going to cool off around the afternoon. We do have rain coming in. I think it was a 60% chance coming up at like 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, the time, yeah.
So we're kind of moved up the time, 30 minutes, trying to avoid dealing with that as the coaches are going to meet at home plate here before we get this one going. It actually looks like we're going to hold clear until about 10 o'clock right now. We've got a 10% chance at 6, and then by 8 o'clock, just a 10% chance. Nothing really changes, and the temperature will just get down to 59. So not a bad night. We got our shorts on for the first time, I think, ever in broadcast history for Bearcat Radio. Let's take a look at the opponent for tonight's game, the Twins. East pitcher Aubrey will be on the mound tonight for Twin Springs. They're 1-0 on the year with a win at Sullivan South on Friday. I'm sure that's a team Mark knows pretty well. They won 7-6 against Sullivan South in a comeback victory. They're a 1A school out of the Cumberland District, and they're really led by Emily Powers, Chenoa Dean, and Bailey Compton. They all had 2 hits in that win as they eked out that non-district win to get to 1-0. They scored twice in the top of the 7th to take the lead in that one. They had one player from last year finished first team all Cumberland District and 1A West honorable mention. That was Chenoa Dean, the first baseman for them, and second team all Cumberland District shortstop Belle Austin. Last year they were eliminated by Thomas Walker 7-5 in 11 innings in the first round of the Cumberland District tournament. So a hard-fought loss there that ended their year short. Quote from Coach Tim Lawson from the Bristol Herald-Courier today. It actually came out today. The Cumberland District preview said still a building program going through growing pains, but he likes where they're headed. So sort of another rebuilding year for them, playing against an up-and-coming Virginia High team that's kind of still clawing to make a noise. You know, they made a noise last year, but this year looking to get off to a hot start and continue that momentum.
And, we talked about this core group of girls. I mean, in all honesty, it just reminds me so much of basketball season already. I mean, you have that core group who's produced last year on a consistent basis, and you have that one.
At 6 p.m. coverage will begin at 5:45 of that one against the John Battle Trojans. So, and then, of course, coming up next Monday, we've got the home opener for baseball. We'll be there at that one against Abingdon in the FCA Prep Show.